fun. No drama, quite like superstar quarterback drama. And Joy Taylor is joining me. I am here for all of it.
I love it. I root for chaos, and this is anarchy.
Yeah, football anarchy.
I love it.
So Pete Carroll's 70. He doesn't want to rebuild, obviously. And Russell Wilson, I can argue, still in his prime, 32, but a great 32. So we start with that. Rumors, gossip. And it came out yesterday that Russell Wilson said, I don't want to be traded, but here's the 4 teams I'd play for. And as I drove around yesterday, humbly as I always drive around Los Angeles, grateful for everything I have in life, I listen to sports talk radio peeps. Many of them had the same takeaway, which is, I can't believe Russell Wilson named teams that already have quarterbacks, and I just rolled my eyes. Oh, come on now. Dak Prescott's employment isn't a Russell Wilson problem. Derek Carr getting his feelings hurt is not a Russell Wilson problem. Dak was offered 5 years and $125 million, and he turned it down. Dak just happened to play hardball with the Cowboys, and today he doesn't have much leverage. Because if I was Dallas, I'd go get Russell Wilson and pay him less. Yes, it would actually cost him less. Russell Wilson's agent put it on the table, all the chips, pushed him out. We're going public with it. We don't want to be traded, but we'd be willing to go to these 4 teams, and we have a no-trade clause, so you can't trade us to a crappy team. That's what agents are paid to do. By the way, Seahawks for years played nice. Go Hawks. Mark Rodgers, who I know, played nice. Unhappy with some things, but didn't go public. But Pete Carroll ignored them. So the old saying in Seattle for the last year is, let Russ cook. Mark Rodgers, Russell Wilson's agent, is changing the new mantra to put heat on Pete. Pete Carroll ignored him. Pete Carroll's got a prehistoric offense. Pete's got too much power. Nobody's controlling Pete. He's got too much say in everything. No more let Russ cook. Put heat on Pete. Let's make it public. That's what an agent's job is to do. I've had half a dozen agents. We all play nice for a while, but if you ignore us, we put heat on you. Russell Wilson played Mr. Nice Guy forever. Tom Brady played Mr. Nice Guy in New England for 20 years. 20 years, Mr. Nice Guy. In the end, they took advantage of him. I used to criticize Andrew Luck, who I was a huge fan of. I loved Andrew Luck, but I'm like, stop always saying nice stuff. Your GM's incompetent. Your coach is not good enough. Your offensive line stinks. Put heat on management. I've been doing this for 30 years. I have seen management often in college sports, in pro sports, in television, in radio, take advantage of nice guys. You can be a nice guy. I'd prefer everybody's a nice guy, but too often those guys get taken advantage of. Andrew Luck was taken advantage of. He's now retired. Russell Wilson was taken advantage of. At the end, Tom Brady was taken advantage of. So you leave the athlete nowhere to go. Tom Brady finally went public with it. Deshaun's gone public with it. Russell's gone public with it. It's not his fault if Dak Prescott overplayed his hand. So, I look at this morning. I totally 100% support Russell Wilson. If it hurt Derek Carr's feelings, so be it. If it hurt Dak's feelings, so be it. I think Dak's overplayed his hand. I think he's a good quarterback who wants a great salary. I'd love to pay Dak somewhere between $28.5 and $31 million. He wants 37 or 38. That's Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers category. So, I don't feel bad for all the other quarterbacks in this league. Brady played nice. Andrew Luck played nice. Russell Wilson, they played nice forever. They did it the right way, but when people ignore you and Belichick and Pete Carroll start ignoring you and the Houston dysfunctional Texans are ignoring Deshaun, you leave the employee no other route. It didn't have to get here. Didn't have to be there for Brady. Remember when Giselle said in the documentary, he just wants to go to work and be appreciated. Can you imagine winning 6 Super Bowls and not feeling appreciated? There was a time Joy and I were on the air and Belichick had to give Brady a game ball. We had footage of it. It was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable, Belichick having to acknowledge, you were pretty good today, Tom. It doesn't have to get here. It's here because of egomaniacs, coaches, GMs, and owners not respecting the star player. All right, so it's very interesting. So 4 teams were mentioned by Russell Wilson and his agent. And those teams are the Cowboys, the Bears, the Raiders, and the Saints. And this is why the Cowboys is very interesting. Jerry Jones is 78 years old. It is virtually impossible with the new NFL to win a Super Bowl with a very good quarterback making great money. In fact, this morning I looked it up. The last 10 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, they averaged about a 9 to a 10% cap hit, meaning they only take up about 9 to 10% of your cap. Brady last year was high. Now, he took a pay cut. He was almost 14. That's abnormally high. But in most instances, you look at it here. Russell Wilson won a title. He was 0.4% of the cap. Nick Foles, 0.9. The average is about 8, 9, 10%. Dak with a franchise tag is 20%. Russell Wilson goes to the Cowboys. He's less than 11%. So think about that. Jerry can get on the phone at 78. He wants a Super Bowl. I get a better quarterback for half the cap hit because Dallas won't have to pay that $13 million a year signing bonus. Don't have to pay it. Dallas also, this is interesting. Of all the teams that Russell Wilson mentioned, Dallas has the highest draft pick. The advantage is, of course, they could call Pete Carroll and say, okay, we'll give you Dak. We'll give you the number 10 pick. That's just a starting point. So Dallas got that higher pick in every round. Also, you don't have to deal with this weird franchise tag Dak dilemma. Not only would you pay Dak like $37 million this year, but if you tagged him again next year, you'd pay him $50 million. It'd be brutal. So, I mean, you get to this morning, you really get to a situation, and this is not anti-Dak, but it's almost a no-brainer. It's almost a no-brainer. I don't get into franchise tag hell. I get a better quarterback. I could say a more marketable quarterback. He's better, and he's cheaper. I mean, that's one of those things. Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones, I mean, you don't have to finish a coffee over it. You don't even have to call each other on the way to work. You can just text each other. Let's make a call. So, and I'm not anti-Dak at all. But Dak, I think we would all agree on this. Dak was offered a 5-year deal over $100 million. Okay, he has played his hand. His agent's been very aggressive. They believe Dak is worth more. That's fine. I mean, a lot of people in every business who have agents, entertainment, music, sports, whatever. You play the hand you think you have a right to play. I think, remember when Russell Wilson came out about a year ago and there were rumors he wanted to go to New York? He played his hand. Well, Seattle traded all these picks. They signed Russell. He had leverage. Dak's been doing the same thing, and I do believe Dak, I said this on the air to Joy, I think Dak had leverage a week ago. I absolutely do. Then this story comes out, now he's got no leverage. So that's the downside to kind of playing your hardball hand, playing your leverage, because Dak had a ton of leverage until yesterday. And now it's like, oh, bruh, he don't have any leverage. I'm Jerry Jones. I make the call today. The question is, does Seattle like what Dallas can give them? Do they like the number 10 pick in several rounds this year? So that's where we are this morning. Dallas is fascinating. You've got a deal-making owner with a quarterback dilemma he likes, doesn't love. You've got a very good draft pick or multiple draft picks to give the Seahawks. Would Seattle move on it? It's something to think about. Have Dak for a year, get the 10 pick, do what you got to do. But it's interesting. This drama, by the way, is, and I want to talk about this coming up next. So, listen, obviously, it doesn't matter if you have a baseball team or a football team or an NBA team. If you're a general manager or an executive or an owner long enough, 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to have a star that wants out. It's just going to happen, right? Even well-run organizations, somebody's not happy. I mean, Dodgers are a great organization. Zach Greinke a few years ago wanted big money, and they weren't going to pay him, so he left. I mean, it's the reality of it. So Houston is making the Houston Texans are making the classic mistake, and I'm always amazed when there's a history of something that doesn't work, Because the smartest people in any business read a lot. They're curious. They don't want to get burned. When they make the classic mistake, the Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson, I don't know why. We have multiple examples of what to do when a superstar wants out and what not to do. And they're doing what you never do. And that's coming up. What's the difference between a Mercedes-AMG skeptic and a Mercedes-AMG believer? A split second, that is all it takes. The time it takes to get inside an AMG for the first time, fire up the ignition, step on the gas, hear the gutsy engine roar, the time it takes for the magic to happen, for the penny to drop, for the lifelong love affair to begin. 1 second, you won't catch me behind the wheel of a 630 horsepower four-door coupe. A split second later, I don't ever want to get out. 1 second, why would I want a sedan that growls like a bear? Split second later, why would I not? Mercedes-AMG. It may not make sense on paper. Certainly makes perfect sense on pavement. Learn more at mbUSA.com/AMG. I drive one. Mercedes-AMG. Beautiful driving performance.